Okay, thank you for coming to our tribe call this morning, where the mission of this call is to keep us on our mission, whatever that is, however small or little, we don't even have to categorize it. Keep us going forward in our life while we deal with whatever symptoms or whatever's going on in our life. How can we keep going forward? So that's the purpose of our call. And the only rules I got thinking that I've got to start just kind of being consistent because sometimes people listen to this and it's like, ooh, who are these people? So I'm going to work on a little script up front. So the rules of our call is that this is just, it's an open communication. Sometimes I'll have a topic and sometimes it comes from somebody within a call. And so it's a really easygoing, easy flowing call. And ideally, just stay on mute for a little bit. And then when you want to share, you unmute and I'll see that. If you put it in the chat, I don't always see it because I'm trying to keep things going. And also, if we keep our commentary to like 2, 3 minutes, that way we can have an ease of flow so that we can kind of all have a chance to share. And sometimes people want to know more from somebody that's sharing. So we'll try to keep our commentary to little bites so that we can all participate in the interaction of our our community call here. So it's nice to see Barb and Michelle and Adriana and Susan and Nancy and Rachel's coming in. So we most often start with just a little bit of just breath because that's quite honestly all we have sometimes is the awareness that we can take a breath right now. We can take a breath, and in this moment, we can just know that in this moment, we're safe. So I'm not a breath work guru. Somebody on this call is a little bit better than me. Maybe a couple of you are better than me. So I like to start with a basic. Let's just take a deep breath. I like to add in on when you breathe in this moment, I am safe. Because it's true. Unless a hurricane's going on and the roof is falling in on your head, um, mostly that's not happening. So we can really dumb it down, for lack of better words, to say, in this moment, I am safe. And then you just release, let everything go, let there be a pause, and do it again. And we can just connect with where we're at. If there's a symptom, if there's a sensation, if there's a thought that comes up, just gently notice it. It's like, I notice that fearful thought coming up. I notice that sensation in my diaphragm coming up. I notice that I'm not breathing very deep this morning. So cool. Thank you for that awareness because that is a gift. So just, I'm going to try to be quiet for 30 seconds to a minute and just breathe. I'm noticing my train wants to get going. I'm like, come on, get with it, go fast. And I'm just noticing that we can slow it down, young lady. That's my commentary to myself when I like to play with my rushing personality. We've got to get things done. So when I catch myself doing that, I'm like, now, young lady, settle it down. Because when I can use humor with myself, it makes the day go from tears to laughter, literally. So it's mastering the art of tears to laughter. And maybe that's a tears to a grin, tears to breath. Does anybody have tears last week? I did. Yep. Many bouts. I had many bouts of tears last week. Yeah, it's human. It really is human. The world is going really fast, and I think that it's a true human condition. But when we can realize, like, okay, I'm having human experience right now. And how did we do at like allowing and catching and rewiring when we thought it was enough of tears? Like, how did that go for anybody? Because I know I had many bouts in my car, in the garage, in my greenhouse. It was an overwhelming week last week. Is there anyone that wants to share how they navigated tears last week? Go ahead, Rachel. Oh, Barb. Oh, Barb, you're next.
I just let them come out. They come out, breathe through them. Sometimes they don't come out. Sometimes they're there and I have to breathe like I can't breathe. I'm like, I need to cry. And it won't come out. And then I have to just like be like, all right, breathe and relax, lay down, whatever it takes, because I have a lot bottled up in me. And um, also, I have to get good with just crying whenever it comes, wherever I am, whoever I'm around. So I've been kind of working on that, but the breathing's for me, breathing is everything. Um, and it helps tremendously.
Thank you. Thank you. Barb?
I was gonna say the same thing, just let it come. And I notice I hold it in too. I've been watching little dog videos lately on Facebook. And then they have like the sad song or some, maybe not sad, but like sweet song or whatever. And I just start crying. And I also had a women, like a book club meeting, and I was noticing I was holding it in, didn't think I should share or talk there. And then once I started talking, and like I could see I was being listened to, the crying just like I just cried a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. I think it's best to let it come for me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I realized when I was overwhelmed last week with all that I thought needed to go on, and I stopped and just paused to realize what needed to go on versus what I thought needed to go on. That's when I just realized and let go and let the tears go. And in fact, I don't know, as I'm talking through this, I don't know when I interrupted and when the tears came, or if I allowed the tears, then I took the breath to realize like this list doesn't all need to be done now. And then my cue to what can you do right now, Deanna? What can you do right now? So many of those experiences were by myself. Who is experiencing these by themselves? Many times we're by ourselves. And sometimes we have somebody that is witnessing this. And then that's helpful, especially when they're aware. Rachel was witnessing me going into my manic. I have to. And she's like, Deanna, stand up straight. Take a deep breath. And I was so resistant to it because I was like, if I let go, I'm out of my manic mode and I can't get as much done. And then I'm going to cry and then I'm not getting more done. So I don't want to do this. But I put my hand on my head and I cried.
For me, there's an element of surrendering to the force of the universe that supports us when we let go. Because when we're like got a stronghold on a list or a thing, it really can't come in until you let it go. And that's when I cry, when I see that I do have the universe supporting me.
Yeah, when I was hearing Barb, she was like, what I heard through that, when I was being heard, that is a triggering, let the emotions out.
Sometimes well, I often leave voice messages for people, but I've noticed, and I usually send them, but I've noticed that even if I don't like the talking, and I guess I'm a because I'm thinking of whoever I'm sending it to. So it must be like the idea that I am sharing and someone is listening, even if I'm just sort of imagining it, I will start crying. So that I think there, at least for me, there is an element of wanting to be seen or heard, or, like people can't change it or anything like that, but just knowing I'm being heard.
Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if when we're by ourselves, because many times we are by ourselves on our journey, especially like I know the personalities here, a lot of us are just doing this on our own because people don't get us because we're way out there. And so, how can we use this awareness of I want to be heard, but I don't have anybody receiving? Like, how can we play with that? I mean, and that's where when we have a source that says, like, I was doing a session a little bit ago and somebody said, who's that over your shoulder? And I said, who, this guy? Who, this guy? Well, this is Jesus. So, like, how can we find that somebody? Like, Barb, you have Charlie. You could play with Charlie hears you. Like, Charlie is unconditional, like unconditional love. Like, you can play with that because she is always by your side. And even though she can't give you that feedback, but just pouring your heart out to her and her receiving it as a perfect little soul, animal soul that she is, like that may be a fun way or an easy way to always be heard.
I didn't do that with her it's almost like because I've had her for 10 years. So for most of our life together, like I feel like I'm protecting her or something. And I don't do that. And I've started to do it recently a little bit where I'll just like talk to her and tell her what's going on. Or like I've been scared, like when I've been really frustrated and scared, like, and it comes up a lot when I take her out because it's hard for me to stand for a long time. And if she won't go right away, I get so angry. So then, I'll come in later and I'll just feel horrible, but I'll like talk to her and then the tears will come out like I'm so sorry or I'm scared. That's why, and so I've started doing that a little bit recently. but I didn't for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I have two battling thoughts. Animals taking on our issues, but also, in this realm, I don't think that would be the case. Like for me, the bottom, and I'm because I've worked with different people with different themes and of stressors, and their animals have stressors, and I'm like, wait, wait, wait. I think more the bottled up stressors, the feeling of that unreleased anxieties, I would be more apt to believe that that is the stuff that affects animals. When you're just pouring your heart out and saying, I love you and I'm sorry for losing my patience. And I mean, that is true. That's love. That's love pouring out. So, anyway, those are a couple of my questions, thoughts, inferences. Is Susan pouring out this morning? Or you just got drippy eyes? Because you miss us.
Hardly. I just listened to the recording yesterday, and so I'm like, it's Monday again.
No. Yes.
Um,
And came around again.
my eyes been hurting me so much. I don't know why they're so sore.
Okay.
They're just sore. That's why I wish I could cry because it would probably help. But I just feel so distracted by a lack of energy and
Yeah.
physical stuff that sometimes I can't. Well, it's not that I can't relate to the emotional feelings, but it's like a luxury for me because I'm just struggling to feel okay sometimes, to feel like I can walk around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and my eyes really hurt.
Where's your wand, my dear?
I don't know.
Do you have somebody that can find it for you? Because
It's over there.
really putting the wand on your eye and rubbing the eye, every so often I have a eye healing, and that just feels so good. So just rubbing it, like even right now, oh, it feels so good.
I don't know if it works or not.
Well,
No,
maybe yours is
no,
old and
because
rusty,
it's so
but-
old.
right?
And
But you'll know. I mean, it can be either entertaining, and even just the metal, the coolness on it. But I'm sensing that there's probably some energy that could be helpful, that would just at least entertain you to feel like you can do something, or
Yeah.
a crystal, or what other healing tools do you have that were locked up with your 0 point energy wand?
Well,
You got any crystals, any rocks?
oh yeah, I got crystals.
Well,
So,
put
but,
them down, put them on your eyes. Because
Could
sometimes
use
you
your
just
hands
want to
too.
do,
You could
yes,
just put your hands or one hand and then on the back of your head too to open.
I-
Have you tried any body work on yourself?
yeah, I guess so.
sometimes we get so tired, it's exhausting just to do our own work on ourselves. That's a real
Yeah.
thing. That is absolutely a real thing.
Yep.
So just be gentle. So maybe even just turn your video off, lay down, just listen to the call, put your hand over your eye, or a warm sachet of something, just to give your eyes that rest, because pain in the eyes is a healing event. So you're resolving something, but to rest the organ is a critical piece. That's why there's when people are going through digestive things, they don't have an appetite because literally we have to rest the tissue that's in there. Like that's purposeful. When we have pain in our jaw, it's like, don't move your jaw. Stop biting. We're in the middle of surgery. Stop using your body. So animals will do it perfectly because they'll hide from their owner and say, leave me alone. I'm resting. I'm healing. But we, on the other hand, sometimes we got shit to do in a day.
Yeah.
Our ego brain's like, oh, you're lazy, you're this, you're that. Oh, so it becomes a trickery that we just have to gently navigate.
Yeah.
And take time out for what you need. Say, if I were an animal, and this is a funny question, if I were an animal, what would an
Which
animal?
you are.
Yes. If I didn't have my thinking part of the brain,
Okay.
what would I do? If I were a cat or a dog with this symptom, what would the cat or dog do? Get off
Gotcha.
this call and lay down.
Rest.
Yep, because most often that's what they would do. They'd get out of the danger. And like I have a cat underneath my stairs right now. Even though like there's all kinds of places to be, but that is where she feels safest right now. In the basement, under the stairs, in the cobwebs. Silly cat. Am I going to drag her out to make me feel better that she's more comfortable in a comfy chair? No, she is navigating her environment according to her needs, her psyche's needs. So
Yeah.
what would you really need if you were a cat or a dog? I need to close my eyes and I need to let it be.
Okay. Okay. Thank
She's like, I'm out.
you. Yeah, I'm up.
Yep. Yep. There are times when I've had healings where I was just like, I didn't have the energy to turn, like lift my arm, like I kind of wanted to watch a nothing program, but I didn't have the energy to reach over 1 foot to grab the remote to turn on a channel. So literally I was just like, okay, I will stare at the ceiling and I'll find little owl pictures in the wood grain and I'll find the eyes. And I was like, and sometimes that was too much. So I just find myself, okay, right now I'm just here. I'm just being. So there's all kinds of awarenesses and things that we can do or not do.
That's such good advice, Deanna. It's so not like the whole world right now. And it's so great to be reminded about that doing nothing is perfect. And we don't always have to be doing something constantly to be worthy to be alive. And that's kind of why I stopped coloring my hair because I wanted people to see that I'm still okay with white hair. Like it's okay just to be where you are and exactly the mood you're in, and the grace to be there is so beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I have other commentary, but I don't want to jump in before somebody else has a moment. There we go. Susan's taking care of her eye, getting some lovin'. Yeah, I put you on mute for a moment, Susan, as you were moving through your room. So if you want to speak, just unmute. Yeah, this goes along with a topic that is, I'm sure everybody can relate to, and is why I do these calls. It's the support that we need when we're perceived, our human needs support as we're going through tough times. It's that being heard. It's that being seen. So the role in family, in friends. And so I'm going to do a little commentary because this call may be used for other people to say, to announce that they're going through something when they're ready to ask for their family's help. There's a few people, well, I know everybody's story. So when we get to a point that we have a symptom in our body, we have a choice to share with people. And when my partner was going through his cancer diagnosis, and I say cancer diagnosis and a fearful symptom, we chose not to tell many people because he was choosing a path that was not the, and I don't even know, I don't know if it's 95% of the world or 98% of the world go down the medical. They trust their doctor. They ask their doctor, trust the doctor, and go there. And there's no judgment for somebody that does. And I will just say, from my perspective, there's no judgment when somebody says, I need to do this surgery. But what I will say is, I would encourage you to do it without fear. Like that will be always be my position. So spinning back around because somebody just left and I was like, who left? Michelle went to swimming. She's going to have a swimming day. So the role in a family, when we have something going on, when we go to share with family, it's so important that when we explain what's going on, it's kind of like tell them what you want from them before you share with them what's going on with your body. So what this kind of looks like is if you have, let's just say, a diagnosis of something. I'm going to say arthritis, because arthritis is self-evaluation. It's a healing event. It's the swelling. I have arthritis in my hands. Could be chronic at this point. And I'm saying that because I chronically overuse them. So they're chronically in the healing phase. So I love my hands. So there's no self-evaluation as I tell that story. So if this is a condition that takes me out of my normal role where I cannot take care of my family, I cannot move around my house, I cannot drive, I cannot do something that is what I'm used to doing. This is, and I've not practiced this, so this is happening right here on the spot. This is how I would do it. Family, I might do it one at a time, or I might do it in a family environment. I would choose that. So I have a little healing event going on in my hands. It's a temporary event and I need your help. Well, what's going on? Well, I have swelling and I have painful joints. So when we injure ourselves, we know that we have to let that rest. We have to stop using. Like if I cut my finger, I can't use that while it's repairing itself because we know that it does that. Right, Rachel? Knives are sharp. Yes. So while my hands are repairing, I'm going to need some help from my family. And this is what help looks like for me. I can't get to church. Is there someone here that can drive me on Sunday? Sherm, can you do that? It may only be for a couple weeks. Can I get some help for 2 weeks and give them, or this next week, Give them little bits, little bites of this is what I need from you. What may happen during this is they will say, well, did you see a doctor? And my response would be, I understand my body. I understand a body of knowledge that I understand why I have sore hands. I don't need anything more than what I already know. I know that if it gets to a point, I have painkillers, I will take them. I know that the doctors will call it arthritis. I don't need their validation because I know my symptoms are swollen fingers. So there is nothing they can offer me that is going to help me. And I know that about me. So, family, when you go through something, I'm going to support you in your beliefs because what you believe about your body and your strategies is very important. And I'm going to do my best to honor you and your decisions. But for me right now, here's what help looks like. And then there may be some other things that, some do's or don'ts. Do not ask me to go to the doctors. I will not, because that stresses me out. So that's kind of what I would do with family. So any experience doing this? Because I know there are people on this call that have this actively. They're strategizing how to share and how far. Like, do you say I have the C word to family? I would not put that in the realm. I would not offer that word because as soon as you offer that word, it comes with what? Fear. With all these. Now, if they already have information that they have that, you're just like, we don't say that word. It doesn't, it's not part, I'm not denying I have symptoms, but I don't need to use that word.
What word are you talking about? Fear?
Cancer.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah. And
Just the
even
word.
if it's not for you, it can be for others.
Yeah.
And we don't need to take on other people's fears. Like they're theirs, that's their work. I don't need your fears. This is my stance. This is where I'm coming from. This is my body, my right. So everybody can say that individually. This is my body, my right. And I will support you and you and you all, each individually. What can I do to help you? Is the most powerful words that somebody can say to somebody that's going through anything. I see you, I hear you. What can I do to help you? And so, as an owner, operator of my vessel, I kind of have to have a few ideas. And if you don't, then you brainstorm, go, what kind of help? Like I know one of you is going through something and it's like, what would be help from your family? Because they want to help. Oh, I like when my mom sends me happy memes. I like when she takes a picture out of a book. I like when she sends me a joke. Like we laugh together. So give them something they can do because if they don't, if they're not given something they can do, they're going to make it up and it's going to end up possibly being something that is not helpful, not supportive. So ponder right now, and maybe we take a minute of quiet and say, okay, in my life, how are ways my family or my friends could help me if I asked? If I asked, who has a hard time asking? All hands. Susan, are you a good asker? You probably have learned that over the years, huh?
Exactly. I've learned I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Most
I've,
recently, right?
pardon me?
Most recently, you've learned to have to ask, or
Yeah. Yeah, the last 3 or 4 years.
yeah,
Yep. And I'm glad I have.
yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Even my daughter coming up here, I said, I'm gonna need your help because I have a little shift in people that are gonna be around me. And she's it. And she's just, it's really so beautiful to see her respond like
oh,
an adult, because I don't have parents or anything, I am the parent. And even that has been hard to kind of, oh, I don't want to appear like I'm fading, but I am. And you want to appear stronger than you are. But she's been here 2 weeks and she sees. And it's upsetting to her because her father's in the same boat. He's losing his mind. It's not funny, but the poor kid. So she's, my friend Diane's going to be leaving, so she's here. She she usually all these years as an adult. I mean, she's only in her mid-30s, and she had the boyfriend and the dogs and the job and all that, and now she doesn't have any of that. So it's very, very beautiful to see. What did you eat? I'll be right over. She lives 5 minutes from here. She's so caring and loving. I never saw that from her. She
oh,
left home at 17, It's really beautiful.
yeah.
Really beautiful.
So there's where we can take,
Yeah,
if
I'm
you,
the baby now. I'm the baby now. It really
well,
is so funny.
it is. It's a normal process.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And there's not a whole lot that prepares us for that. But
No,
without your physical challenges over the course that have built over 3 years, you wouldn't have had the opportunity to see that in her.
exactly. It's very beautiful.
And what do
I,
we really want for our children? Is them to be loving, nurturing, and you
yeah,
see full circle that she's got that.
totally. So beautiful.
The
Yeah,
gift, the gift within the disease, within
yeah, absolutely. I'm very blessed. I have such good people around me. Yeah,
that's sweet.
a lot of support.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything to share on this topic or something else that's coming to mind?
Um, I it's been, Diana, it's been hard for me to know, like, do I share? What do I say? Do I say something? Do I not? Some people know already. And then I haven't talked to them. And I noticed that I tie, I'm scared to ask for help from people that know but don't think this way because like I'm doing the wrong thing. So I mean, I'm still working through that and like how to, I don't know if I say something about, or like I've been more on the vague side, but it always feels like there's this weird moment in a conversation if I like where they're wanting me to, they're not buying it. You know what I mean? Like they're kind of,
And it's really funny because the people you think are going to respond, it's not them. it's other people that that just like my friend Diane. I've known her for 40 years, but we were never that close. And she wanted to come clean my house. I'm like, no, I'm kind of private. And a few years ago, I mean, she's just a godsend. I had no idea we're so close now. I could not have predicted that. You know, even my daughter, I could not have predicted that her life would fall apart and render her, up here and suddenly having to care for me. It's great. I wouldn't have asked her, but she's
Right.
risen to the challenge. So sometimes you don't have to ask people, but you have to respond because people want to help you, and you go, "Oh, yeah, thank you," and they persist. So wait for them. They'll come to you. Ask internally. You know, I need help. I mean, you have to kind of admit that you need help, but it's not always from the people you think it's going to be from. Never. It seldom is. You
Yeah, it
know,
has been like I've been in a group of dippers, ocean dippers for I don't know, I guess they're going on their third season and I would see them almost every day and I've been working through feelings around most of them I haven't heard from
Yeah.
at all.
And I do
At
have to say that sometimes people, when they can't help you in their way,
I
it-
understand.
it's a slippery slope. Like I experienced that. I have a friend that has, I have a friend that is going through something, and like I have so much knowledge that I can offer, and I've put it out, and it's like I've really had to work. And so I don't want to ask, oh, how are you? Because it comes with, oh, this. And I'm like, it's like you're asking for help, but I'm here. It's like walking in. Anyway, so I've decided in my head, and this is just a piece of helping me process this and being able to support this person, is that I will ask for help, or I will bring up the topic and say, maybe just one little bit of, oh, just trust your body. What I understand is, or just, I'm sorry you're going through that. And I find myself like biting, like literally gritting my teeth because I want to so say, this is a healing event. Like, you're fatigued. Of course, you're fatigued. That's very normal when you just went through what you just went through. Trust your body. But I think even that sometimes is too much. So I just have to ask and say, I'm sorry. And maybe now I'm adding this. What could I do?
You're not too
And,
much, ever, Deanna. You're never too much.
well, no, I have been too much. I've
Well,
learned,
you don't know. You might have been planting a seed.
I
You
know,
don't
but
know.
sometimes one seed is too much. When
Well,
somebody
I
has
don't know.
zero battery, no, I've been too much.
You sure?
And yes, I do know that. I've learned to tap in, to ask questions, to figure out where their battery is. If they're on empty, you don't get any seeds right now. I hear you. I'm sorry. I'm here for you. I can be an ear. I'll grit my teeth, but I can be an ear.
The other thing I do when you're just saying you're not too much is I would write them a letter and never mail it. Just so I'm not biting down, holding back. I'm writing it down and then I just rip it up when it's written. So because there's so much that we want to help, and when we don't speak, I think it becomes something that needs to be going somewhere
Yes. And
for
yeah, with
me.
that, I actually wouldn't write because my arthritis. Arthritis.
Yeah.
Interesting. But I actually would talk, I talk a lot when I'm by myself, maybe when I'm even with company. So talking it out is like when I'm driving, I talk a lot. I talk these things out because yes, we need to be heard. And if we understand the energetics, we can use our higher power to say, God, here's what I wish. If that is your will for this person, here, you know the answer. You created him perfect. You created like he believes in you. So send him that message to trust me. Lay there and be quiet, let your body heal. Like, sit down and shut up. No. So we can use the energetics of, I intend this message to get to him. It doesn't have to come out of my mouth. That's a realization I'm just having right now.
Yeah,
Rachel,
that's so important. Any thought, like Dr. Masuro Emoto proved that
yeah.
thousands of miles away, I can send love to a bottle of water and it changes the molecular structure of that water. So, yeah, for sure, for sure. Any thought, negative or positive, is so important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Rachel, I think you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I think it's really important that you were talking of how you're talking about asking for help. Yeah, that's really important to surrender to that in yourself, not to the other person. But when you surrender to it in yourself, that it's really important for you to take a moment and be really clear in what you actually need and how to articulate that. Because if you don't tell somebody what you need, they have no idea. And like you said, they're going to throw something at you. And that was a huge lesson for me to be able to speak really clearly about what I need, and setting my healthy boundaries, because people will invade and they don't mean to, but they'll be like, "Hey, I'm doing this for you," and I was like, or or they'll ask 5 billion questions, and I've been likely labeled as borderline rude because there's times where somebody's asking me questions and I'll just cut them off and be like, "I can't go there right now. I can't talk about that right now. I'm my psyche's fragile. I don't have the energy for that. I'm not doing that right now. Maybe at a later date I can explain that to you better, but not now." And it's important to stand strong in that and know that that's okay for yourself. It's okay for you, even if they do take offense to it, because you are taking care of yourself by doing that. Yeah, I think that's
That out of the gate, like there was one moment where I talked to a mom of somebody that I was working with, and she didn't get what was going on. So she had a million questions, but my role in teaching her was, this is your daughter's journey. It's not yours. So your role now is, from afar, offering support. What does support look like for your daughter? She'll either tell you, but generally you just go, hey, what can I do for you? Is there anything you need today? Anything I could offer you today? It's just like, I have a platter of love here. Tell me how I can express it. And if that hasn't been part of the dance, then that can be like, whoa, wait, whoa, what's going on? But that's, and we are not taught to ask for what we need. Anybody ever have a lesson from their mom? This is how you ask for what you need. No, not really. So there are a lot of, there are so many lessons when we have a symptom. And oh, I wanted to use this because this is kind of, at whatever point, whoever's listening to this, whether you're a family member of somebody going through something or somebody going through something and trying to express. Here's a perfect example. So most people, if they have a hemorrhoid, they don't want to share their privates with anybody. If they have a rash in their undercarriage, they don't want to share that. So the details of what's going on is not necessary. I've got something going on my body. I don't need questions about it. It's of a personal nature. So right now it's affecting my ability. Right now it's affecting my ability to do A, B, C, or D, or all of this. So temporarily, just like a burn, just like a finger cut, I can't use parts of my body, or I'm choosing to honor resting my body while I'm going through this. So in this phase of my life, which sometimes, depending on the symptom, we kind of know how long it will take. Like if I cut my finger, Rachel just cut her finger the other day. So she kind of has to not use it for probably a week. And when she soaks it, it'll break down a little bit. I don't know, she'll have to heal it a little bit. She washes the dishes or whatever. So we can kind of give them an idea, but we don't have to say, oh, for next 3 months, because all they need to know is you need help now. So if you're able to say, I would propose for the next week, maybe 2, I'm going to need some help in these areas. Could you, would you, should, like, and then you ask. Send me a funny meme in the morning. Or when you run across a cute cat video, send it on. Or something like, I can't do my duty anymore. Can you walk my dog? Which, Barb, I know you've had to do that. There was a time where you had to do that.
Coming up. It's happening a little now
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first part of what you're saying, I guess. Like just because someone wants to know what's going on
This is
and
a
like
person
want to
that-
suggest I go to the doctor or something, like I don't need to tell them what's going. I mean, I guess I can find a way to say I don't want to tell them.
Then let's do a little brainstorming. How many different ways can we say it's none of your business? This is so my phrase that I just used, and I've never, this is of a personal matter. This is a
Yeah.
personal story of mine. So I know, and if they know that you had, it's not that, it's something different. That actually is the truth. Because your cells are totally different than they were a year and a half ago, Barb, as an example. You almost have a new whole body. So yes, they have a little bit of what went on, but you don't have to tie them together. This is a personal nature, and right now, here's what you could do. So thank you for caring is another phrase. Thank you for asking. Because being heard is wanting to be seen, like I want to be seen. They're asking, but too much. So thank you for asking. What I've decided is it's too much of an old story, and I'm blazing a trail to the new story. So I'm asking for help, and I'm learning. This is a phrase that often is helpful. I'm learning about stresses and how my body is responding to them. So right now, I don't beat my body up. I don't talk about my body unless I'm praising it. So you bring them on to, this is what I need. Thank you for asking. I just lost my train of thought. Something, some kind of intermediary, and change the topic. So how are you? What's new in your world?
You touch a little on part of it too, which is when it is going on for a long time,
That
That-
becomes so psychological. Susan, Rachel, Nancy, they're all in the boat or have been in the boat.
Because sometimes that question will come up, like, about haven't you gone to the doctor? Like, it's been a year.
Yep. I check in every so often. How are you? So it's kind of getting good with your answers. Just having a firm stance.
Sometimes you just say it's none of your business.
No, I know. I know that can totally be like it's not your business, or it wouldn't even have to be said that way, but
Yeah.
you can get the same message across. I maybe what I'm getting is it's like a reflection, right? Like a mirror. So it does stir up in me fear. You know, I'll see them say that, and or maybe they're saying that because I'm already thinking that, so that, you know, because I am thinking like, I mean, it's been a long, like, I am concerned.
Yep.
Not saying that to certain people, but that it is concerning, you know.
Here.
I do hold some of that energy.
And I think that there's another element that nobody ever talks about that's super important. You are angry. You're angry about this, and you've got to have ways of letting it out. You don't have to be, oh, it's okay. It's not okay. It's shitty. It's horrible. It's awful. These things are awful. But we
Yeah.
don't, and let that out when it comes, but don't wallow in it and don't dwell in it.
Yeah.
Somebody's, hang up off the phone with them and flip them off. They can't see you. There, okay, you got that out. That doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you're not who you want to be. It means that you're human, and it means that you're letting out the things that are trapped inside of you that are necessary to be let out.
Yeah. And not everyone responds the way I like assume they will either. You know, I've gotten surprising responses from people that I have shared openly with that don't know anything about German New Medicine, but they like a withdrawal support friend of mine, like she's like, Barb, if I was you, I'd be probably doing the same thing. She doesn't know anything about this. She just has a belief in the body can heal itself.
Mhm.
She's like, I've never been scared of cancer.
Mhm.
I on the other hand am, but but it's just I'm also surprised sometimes by responses too.
Yep. So part of this, I call it the setup for a shock, the setup for, oh, I thought they were going to be really supportive.
Yeah.
So it's kind of going into any of those communications, like we don't know what is going to be triggered in somebody else. And their response is not about us. It's about them, their position in life, their experiences in life. So when we're caught off guard with the lack of, we allow the praise when they're like, oh, wow, they really heard me. That's all great. That's on the good side. But when somebody's like, oh, triggers a fear in them and try to bring you down there, you can simply say, I'm not holding that fear. So you don't need to either. That's a very powerful phrase. I'm not holding that fear. And even if you pretend, like Rachel expressed to me, I think last week after the call, maybe it was that, I don't know. Sometimes we have to pretend. And it's not for the sake of, oh, life is good. No, it's for the sake of just helping us through. Like we got to I got this. I got this. I got this. I don't know how the fuck I'm going to get this, but I got this. I'm going to do it. We're going to do it. Blah, blah, blah. Like we've got to have a little bit of, because we're telling all kinds of other stories. So we can tell some other stories that, like, I can do this. I don't know how yet, but we're going to do it. Like using that creativity. Oh, the guy that I just did a session, he called it the fantasized fear. Yay, Barb, we hit some part of your psyche. A good yawn. Yay, let's celebrate. Something just released. I love to see that. So good. Something, do you know what just released? Did you have like a aha moment with some of this?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, when I see a good yawn, it's like, ooh, the nervous system just reset. So that's a praise. A few more layers, but that's okay. That's okay. You actually have some brightness this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see your light. I've seen you at your bright light. I know it's there. The the pilot light is always on, as we talked about last week. So we just hold your own. Hold your own. So yeah, the fantasized fear. So I don't want to go too long on this, but I just want to plant seeds, and yeah, come up with a strategy. Let's just ponder, what do we need going through this week? Let's kind of bring this to a close. What do we need? What's a strategy that we can utilize that we learned through this series of conversations today? What do we need in our life? Where do we need help? How can we set a boundary? If anybody has an immediate thought, they're like, this is what I'm going to do as a strategy for myself, you can share it. Or if you want to ponder and share later.
I just like the idea of asking less questions for myself. That's going to help me, that I can just relax and not ask as many questions.
To somebody that's going through something?
To anybody about anything, yeah. Because I used to have a story that it was because I'm not that smart. So I always did ask a lot of questions about a lot of things. And I think it's time, maybe I don't need to ask so many questions and it's still okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Doesn't mean I don't love that person as much. It just means there's fewer questions.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Susan?
Along that same line, since my daughter's been here, people have, I have congestive heart failure and it's progressive. And I've noticed the progression lately. And so I had a social worker here and my nurse, and I had a question I wanted to ask, excuse me, along that same line with my daughter here. I said, she thinks I should get out more. So she's been taking me out to her house and, oh, come on, you should do it. And Walmart. And so there is, like Rachel was saying, this pretense. So like, just do it. You can do it. I have no idea how I get through it, but you just put the one foot in front of the other and there you're out there, And my question was, I mean, ordinarily it's good to push yourself. You can't walk as much, and so that's because you're not walking. You need to walk more. People see me outside. Oh, it's nice to see you outside walking. And it's like, so my question was, is it really good? Because if I only have a certain amount of battery charge left, then should I be pushing it and using it for any old thing just for the sake of it? Like I'm going to get better or something if I use it more. And, one of them said, well, yes, it's good to get out and do things and be in the sunshine. Don't isolate. I'm like, I don't isolate. I have plenty of. But anyways, then the other one said, Susan, you should do what you want to do at any given point in time. I'm not lazy. I'm not. I try and do things that I still can do. But I like that answer. Nobody is the boss of me, you know, because I do pride myself in having some knowledge in this situation
Yep.
more than anybody else. So sometimes if you feel like going out, you feel like pushing it a little, go for it. If
Yep.
you don't, then listen to that and trust that too.
Right. And that's such an amazing point, because the second answer, trust yourself, will go back to the animals. If the animals are tired, do we drag them around on a leash? It's gotta move. It's gotta. No, that's just unfair. So we've got to know what we want. And especially with breathing, like with breathing, that can be overwhelming. Like you don't want to overwhelm your body when you can't breathe. So if you can transport and roll and not put hardly any effort into going out to fresh air, and it feels good, you love the light on you, but if the light, your eye is hurting and the light is like, oh, don't
Yeah,
put me outside.
right.
So listen to the patient. Dance around the patient, Dr. Hammer called it. That was
Yeah.
his very popular quote. That's our job, to dance around the patient.
Mm.
And when the patient says, because they're processing, if they've got an issue and they're like, I might need to go to they're processing it. They'll know when they need to go to the doctors.
Yeah.
And if you're working with a practitioner that knows like programs and like, okay, here are some danger signs, like we need some help here. So nobody else needs to do that, but the person that is running, the owner operator, has the right to say, yay, nay, thank you. I'm going to think about that. Yes, more, less, more. I want more of this, less of this. And then there's a place in the middle where we can say, I'm not sure yet. Let me ponder that. I'll get back to you. Like we don't ever have to offer an answer. Let me think about that. I don't know how I am right now, Barb, but what I am is I'm here with you right now. How are you doing? Write that one down.
Yeah.
Because that's the truth. Because what is the truth? I'm not
And
sure how
lot-
I am. I'm out in the sun right now and I see your beautiful smile. You give them a compliment and you get involved in their life.
And lots of times they have a lot to say. Like you think you've got so much going on and you just say, how are you? And then it's 20 minutes later and they needed somebody to hear them speaking. Like, so that's been surprising to me.
Right. And
I think
I know what.
I think I'm just like switching things because I don't feel like talking, but then wow, they needed someone to speak to because they're talking and you're listening. So
Right. And then there's the setting boundaries with that, because I know Rachel's response was, yep. And then my battery is drained because they just put all their shit on me. So there's the hold their hand and say, you know what? Is it possible to take a break in this conversation? Because my battery's pretty low. Like I've got a lot going on. Like I've had to do that in the last couple weeks, is stop somebody in a conversation and say, way too much for me right now. Oh, Rachel's like that. She's got her phrase, and with people she can be really direct and they know. But with people that don't know what you're going, is you kind of feel like a bitch. But we gotta we have to keep ourselves what I call in a spa-like environment. This psyche channel, peace, tranquility, as much as we can control. So it takes a lot of navigating, a lot of learning experiences and finding some phrases that just feel right for you. So as you process this, if you come up with some phrases that you're like, ooh, this one will work, just share with all of us. Share in the tribe or the Telegram channel if you want. Up Your Vibe. Subscribe to Up Your Vibe Tribe on YouTube. I am not that girl to promote these, but we are all in this together. So keep doing your best. Keep using breath to keep in the now. Keep setting boundaries. Keep asking for what you need. And taking time for yourself. And using fun tools like 0 Point Energy. I see that you found it,
I
Susan.
did.
Could you
I
feel
did.
that felt better?
No,
Okay.
I didn't do it long enough.
Okay. Yeah. Lay down, relax. This is what I would suggest. Or even prop it up and just really put it on your eye because you definitely have a program running and it's hard to do it with glasses on. Trust
Yeah.
me. The other day I had, I think an eye program. No, I had an ear program. So I leaned it up against, it was in my ear for while I slept.
Don't
So
you have to go like this to get
don't
it going?
necessarily, you can.
Oh, wait.
There's good, better, best, but just putting it on the body, the vibrations in it. So yeah,
Okay.
use it. And give yourself a facelift while we're at it. This is good. Oh, they're good.
Uh,
It's part of my beauty regimen, which I don't do very often, but there we go. Okay, everybody. We have a hard time making these just an hour, but anyway, we gain little nuggets here and there just to make the world a better place.
yeah,
Here's
thank you
your
so
show.
much, everyone.
Okay, take care. Blessings
Thank
to
you.
everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Yes, yes.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Boo-boo, boo-boo, boo-boo. All right, let's see. Where's my off button?